With this energy of judgment, someone has had an awakening about you, or I am hearing a rude awakening. So they don't like the fact that it has dawned on them that you are moving forward. You are never coming back. This is somebody who it feels like past energy, obviously, thought that it would be very easy to kind of just stroll towards you, give you the same song and dance that had worked for years is what's coming through. So for a lot of you, this is a very long-term cycle that you've worked very hard to close out. Clear from your energy, clear from your mind, clear from your reality. You might have even moved forth with a new romantic partner, and now this person from the past wants to turn up, thinks that it would just be so easy to appear to you, cause you to let your defenses down, let your guard down, let them in, let them access you in the same way that they did before. It feels like you gave this person a lot of grace. You held space for them longer than was reasonable, longer than most people would have. You might have gotten a lot of pushback about this from friends and family, sort of like, this person's never going to change. Why do you keep waiting for different experiences when they keep showing you that they are committed to not valuing you, not showing up in integrity, not bringing high vibrational energy or reciprocity to the table? And you maybe made excuses for this person, or you bought into their excuses. We are all only human after all, so that can happen from time to time, despite the fact that we try to love ourselves and, reach for our highest good, reach for high vibrational relationships. Sometimes we find ourselves in the midst of karmic cycles with karmic people. This is definitely the energy of a karmic person, where you freed yourself, you said enough is enough, you moved forward in another direction. This feels like it dovetails off of the reading that I did yesterday, for those of you that haven't watched it that want to check that out. Or like your spirit team and your spirit guides are congratulating you for closing out of something that was very kind of entrenching, something that had kept you sort of stuck, had kept you looping around in an outdated pattern, limited thought processes. Or like this reading is talking about, a relationship, a romantic relationship that just wasn't going anywhere. So this is kind of an extension upon that, where, yeah, this person now has felt the disconnect. They have felt you detach. They may have even seen on social media, that you are dating again, or that you've met someone new, or they're kind of just picking that up from your energy, from the vibe that you're giving off, the things that you're focusing on, or even things that you've detached from that you're no longer participating in, where they thought, hey, that would be that easy kind of venue through which to come back around, or to stay connected, or to continue to keep an eye on you. It is now more challenging. It is now something where they are recognizing you're moving off in another direction, and this has been a rude awakening for this person. This is more that energy, though, of your spirit team really congratulating you for making that tough choice to move in another direction. If you haven't met someone new already, you are headed in the right direction to encounter someone, that won't come without their own kind of series of baggage and issues. We all have our problems. We all have our shortcomings. But this is definitely something, with this being major arcana, where this was like a major cycle that you went through with this past person. You're not going to fall into the same traps as easily as you did before. Whatever the dynamic with you and this past person had looked like, it feels like it put you through the ringer. You had to go through a lot. This is a very long-term experience, or like, it took a long time to detach from this person, to free yourself from these energies, to move forth in a new direction. And so you are now equipped with the insight and the right mindset to be able to avoid certain hooks that this person from the past had used to kind of reel you in, to keep you stuck, to keep you guessing, to keep you hoping, to keep you in this energy of like, well, maybe they'll change, and time goes by and it's just the same sad story with them. So as you move forward, this past person is really feeling like, whoa, my window of opportunity's closed. The previous roads that I used to access this person, you the viewer, they are no longer open to me. They are no longer as accessible in the same way that they were before. This person finds himself as a spectator in your life, and it doesn't feel good. So that's that rude awakening energy. Yeah, we also have the Five of Swords. So this person from the past definitely acknowledges that they missed out on you. You were the blessing, you were the prize, and they were distracted by frivolous things. This is somebody, even, if they didn't have like a third party in the mix, or, they weren't somebody that was just wanting to kind of string you along, based on maliciousness within them or wounding within them. This is somebody that just kind of underestimated the potential between the two of you, and the fact that it was almost like a limited time offer, a limited time experience. Yes, they were allowed to have like freedom of choice, freedom to think things over. Feels like, again, you gave this person a really extended grace period, to sort of get their ducks in a row, decide what they want, change their attitude, change their behavior, change their approach to you, and they took too long. They assumed that you would always be there, that you'd always be waiting. It feels like this is somebody that almost thought, I'm going to take the long road home. And they did take their time. Only when they have arrived now to this place of kind of like, okay, I think I'm ready. Or for a lot of you, this is something that has been, sparked or stimulated by the fact that they can see that you have moved on in another direction. You're no longer waiting. You're no longer holding space. And so now this is somebody who's in a very frantic energy. They're panicking. What do I do now? I thought the viewer was always going to be waiting for me. I thought that when they said that they loved me, it meant forever, no matter what I did. It's like this person tested that notion of unconditional love. They put a lot of conditions upon this circumstance, and it feels like for a very long time they gave very little to kind of make it worth your while, and maybe even in a way that people who care about you and love you felt it was in your best interests to continue to participate with them or to hold space for this person. So this is somebody that is almost like scrambling to maybe bring forth communication, some kind of offer, something that it feels like there's a hope, like, okay, maybe there's one more chance. Maybe I can get my foot in the door. Maybe I can kind of squeeze in at the last minute. Maybe it's not too little too late. But it feels like now this person finds themselves on the other side of, almost like the other side of the glass. They're on the outside looking in. That's that Five of Pentacles energy. They are feeling this loss. For those of you, this has been like a prolonged no contact situation. The fact that you've detached and you've taken steps forward, you've started dating again, or you've just kind of changed your mindset of like, this person's not going to change. I'm not getting any younger. I owe it to myself to take full advantage of the moment and see what else is out there. Certainly anybody could give me a better experience than what this past person has done, where they have kept me waiting, they've kept me doubting, they've kept me second guessing myself. Or maybe that's even something that worked to your advantage, where you invested yourself very heavily, very, very diligently in this process of like addressing your inner child wounds, doing that shadow work, focusing on abundance, investing in a glow up, loving yourself. So while you've been waiting for this person, you've not been waiting in vain. This is the energy of like, your energetic worth and value has increased. You have recognized that you are always worth more than the experience this past person was willing to offer, that they were giving to you. And so the time that you have been holding space, this action of detachment, this momentum in a new direction, it has slingshotted you off into like an entirely different timeline, where now this past person is kind of like, they're awakened to the fact that you are not so easy to reach. You are not falling for the same tricks. You are not just sort of standing in place where they left you while they took their time doing other things. For some of you, that would have been third parties. For others, it's just kind of maybe some weird control issue of like, I'm going to take action in my timeline. I'm not going to be forced to do anything. I'm not going to be backed in the corner or given ultimatums, so a bit of stubbornness in their part, and it totally backfired on them because now you've detached. Now, even if they came for a lot of you with like saying all the right things, doing all the right things, you don't feel the same way anymore. You have changed. You are a different person. You have up-leveled substantially, and this past person sees it. They feel it. They recognize it. And even if they would never admit it to you, they understand that the loss is truly theirs. We also have the Queen of Pentacles. So this person from the past sees you in a different perspective. They see you in a different light. And I'm hearing, I didn't think you had it in you. So this person really did take you for granted. They thought you would always just be waiting. You would always be that guarantee. This is somebody that might have even, for some, thought in the end it'll be you and me. So what's the rush? What's the hurry? I can kind of just take my time, have my other life experiences, just prepare myself to kind of settle in when the moment is right for me. On my timing, I will walk forth. Feels like spirit gave them nudges for quite some time. You might have given them actual ultimatums for quite some time too, and they didn't listen to that. This is somebody that feels like has some big control issues. They wanted to be in charge in this situation, and they ended up missing out on the blessing. Now they get to just sort of sit there and watch you live your life. They get to sit there and kind of think about all the woulda, coulda, shoulda. If I could turn back the hands of time, these are the things that I would have done differently. But they didn't then. The time is now. You are forward facing, and this is somebody who definitely sees that they missed out. For some of you, you are going to get that communication from this person. It's almost like when things turn around in your life, you meet someone new, you're on the right path, you got the right mindset, you're investing in yourself in a healthy way. All of a sudden, this person comes out of the woodwork. This is definitely the energy of somebody that is kind of like, I got one chance to get this right. I know I have to speak my truth. I know I got to say my piece. I know I got to do all the right things this time around, or the door's going to slam shut forever. This is somebody that sees you as that kind of blessing in disguise. It's almost like I couldn't see you for who you are in the past, when it was so easy, when it would have just been, the right thing to do, or the best thing to do right by you in this circumstance, to handle this situation in any number of ways differently than what I did. To not leave you waiting, or not leave you waiting around or confused, or this might even be somebody that breadcrumbed you for a while, to not push you to the point where you had no other choice but to cut the cord in this situation, to free yourself, to advocate for yourself, to choose yourself and step forth towards the unknown in another direction. As much as you have loved this person, you've held love. Some of you may be like, I still have love for this person. I'll always love this person. Regardless of that, this Queen of Pentacles energy is the vibe of somebody that is like, I might love you, but I love myself more. I might love you, but I'm going to have to love you for a distance, because I can't keep going on like this. I can't keep playing these games with you. I can't keep sitting here and I'm all alone, and yet you tell me that you love me, but your actions don't show that. I can't keep sitting here and being second fiddle to somebody else or something else, whether it be wounding, whether it be, cultural programming, whether it be another person, a job, a mindset, whatever that is. I'm not going to sit and be secondary to that. I'm not going to be put on the back burner. I value myself enough to take steps in the direction of where my worth is seen, where that is reciprocated, the efforts that I make. People out there who will love and appreciate me for who I am, who will not make me feel like I am too much or too little. The way you have advocated for yourself or become very assertive, it feels like this is something, again, this person's like, I didn't think you had it in you. It's almost like you are unrecognizable to this person, but with this Queen of Pentacles, they're seeing that like you are even more in alignment with wish fulfillment than they had anticipated before. It's like you were cloaked or hidden. You were a test for this person. Can they seize the moment with the blessing? Or is this something where they were going to be distracted by ego, distracted by shiny things, led astray by their own fear and wounding? And this is someone that failed that test. This is somebody that, chose the lesser pathway. They chose to wander off in another direction, or to make no moves at all. Time has passed and you have broken free. You have said no more. You have discontinued your participation in that broken cycle. And for this reason, you have aligned with the frequency of abundance inside of yourself. And this person feels it. This person sees it. This person sees you from a different perspective. If this is something where you don't ever hear from this person again, because for a lot of people, it's like they may think, oh, wow, I messed up. I gotta turn things around. But whatever the motivation was in the past that caused them not to progress forward with you, that's not going to change all of a sudden. because you slip out of their hands. That's not going to change all of a sudden because you follow through with your boundaries. You move forward in another direction. For some of you, that's just going to be kind of like an internal regret. But this is definitely the circumstance where you now have earned the category in this person's life of the one that got away. Something they may chalk up to their biggest regret. Something that for some people, this is going to cause this person after a period of time to be more mindful if and when the blessing of love is presented to them again, how they handle that, how they are a caretaker for that, how they show up in that energy. For others, though, this is something that, their behavior's not going to change. They're just going to keep being that person that let you down. They're going to let somebody else down. But deep in their heart, deep in their core, deep in their soul, there will be this acknowledgement of it didn't have to be that way. Life could have turned out into something very different. There was an opportunity for a blessing of love that you passed by. You chose to discard. You chose not to, work to kind of like earn or to, strengthen or to, cherish. And so it was taken away. Was taken away by the universe. It was taken away by, you, the viewer, like loving yourself. So the force of love, God working through you, moving through you, you loving yourself enough to move in the direction of anywhere, anything else where you'd be appreciated and valued as is a different than the experience that this person gave you. So don't doubt that within yourself, that it is definitely known, it is definitely noticed, the shift within you and almost like the void space that this is created within this past person in terms of missed opportunity, big potential, big loss on their part. To lose a Queen of Pentacles, that's a loss that nobody ever fully kind of recovers from. And so this is the energy that you are in. You are this Queen of Pentacles that has gone on to become someone else's blessing. Either you are already aligned with some new person and you're their blessing. They see that. They're going to cherish that. They're going to prove to you, hey, I know who you are, I know what you are. I see kind of how you fit into my life or what you bring into my life, and they're going to celebrate that. And for those of you, where this is like the part of this reading that resonates the most is, again, that you've kind of like cut off an old cycle, you've moved forth in a new direction. That love, that lover, that person that is going to provide you a better experience than whatever this past jerk did or didn't do. That's going to be the type of individual, that makes you kind of like, it mirrors the worth, your self-worth that you cultivated within. This is the type of experience you are walking towards. You are wiser because of these heartbreaks. These lessons have necessitated that you, kind of gather your dignity, you gather your strength, and you move forward in another direction. And you've done that. You've done that brilliantly. And so this is something that it feels like is aligning you with a deeper partnership, a more true partnership, something where your worth isn't missed, isn't taken for granted, but is celebrated. Yeah, we also have the Hierophant. So this is definitely a circumstance of like the closure of a karmic cycle, a karmic contract. Something that it feels like when you and this past person met, it could have gone either way. You were their test and you became their lesson. And when you met, it was like you were their test. You were either going to be their lesson or their blessing. And through their actions or inactions over an extended period of time, you became the lesson. So this is somebody that's almost like in Five of Cups energy. They're crying over spilt milk at this particular point in time. This energy for some is going to be enough to motivate this person. Is it too little, too late? I miss you. I want to turn things around. It's almost like the minute that you step forth in the other direction, those lines of communication open up. The minute that you meet somebody new, there they are showing up. And so it's almost like the roles have been reversed. If this person does show back up in your energy, for a lot of you, they are now your test. Do you love yourself enough that if you choose to kind of hear them out, you're holding yourself and them accountable to that higher standard where they got to work for it, they got to earn it, they got to prove that they have evolved, that they have changed, or that they are capable of it, where you don't just let them in so easy. You don't just let your guard down. You don't fall into the same circumstance that has taken you so long to extract yourself from. For others of you, this will be too little, too late. You've moved on, you've found new love, or you're headed in that direction. And you will hear from this person like one more time. And they will arrive, and you will look around at the life that you're living, and you'll say no thank you. And that'll be the closure that you need. For a lot of you, though, this is somebody that is just going to kind of like harbor that regret inside, that self-directed resentment that it feels like, could manifest as something where, they're kind of projecting that out, projecting that negativity out. But don't fear that. This is somebody that is kind of like, they're not happy with the bed that they've made for themselves. They are in the midst now of kind of living the karmic experience that they have chosen, that they have created for themselves. Yes, they now see you through these kind of fresh eyes as the blessing, the one that got away. But this is not somebody that is operating on a frequency that can interfere with your happiness unless you let them. This is not the type of person that can come in and sabotage the beauty of love and the experience you are creating for yourself from this moment forward unless you let them. This is somebody that no longer has power and control over you unless you let them. So this is definitely the energy of kind of like, just pay this person no mind. If they're going to stew, if they're going to ruminate, if they're going to project all that kind of like what should be self-directed frustration because they did this to themselves. They had the opportunity to do something different and they've ended up in this circumstance. You've escaped. You have freed yourself. So this is the type of thing that, like, as time goes on, as your life continues to evolve and unfold, and you continue to be in the midst of this version of you, this person's power over you, it diminishes. Time is not something which is on their side anymore. They don't have that grace. They don't have like the love that you were holding in place for them as this beacon to kind of like guide them back towards you, or a light around which they were constantly fluttering but never quite making contact with. You've taken that power back. You've poured all that love back into yourself and you're setting your sights in another direction. And it's feeling very cold to this person. This person is not liking that they're out in the cold, but they've put themselves there. And for the vast majority of you, they don't have what it takes to redeem themselves in this situation. If they came towards you tomorrow, you would see, this isn't the same person that I remember. I'm not the same person they remember. Whatever that attachment had been in the past, I've healed things inside of myself. I don't feel the same way. I might have wanted what I wanted when I wanted it, but I don't want it anymore. I don't want you anymore. Because I chose me, and I want people in my life who see me and appreciate me and value me the first time around, that aren't going to put me through an experience like this just to settle for crumbs. Or, years go by and there's nothing until I finally detach, and then all of a sudden there's something. Or at the last minute coming in. For a lot of you, you may see that this person is like, hey, they're coming in trying to interfere with my blessings. I let them go. I've moved on in another direction. What are they doing knocking on my door now when it was silence for all that time? And so whatever power you give away to this person, whatever role you assign to this person, as far as significance, as far as pieces of yourself you continue to give to them, despite the fact they disappointed you and let you down time and time again, and you were left with no choice but to do the right thing, which is to choose yourself and move in another direction. That's on you. As far as like, if you empower this once again, this is a closed connection. This is a closed karmic cycle. This person is now living in the midst of consequence. You are the one that got away. You are that repercussion. You are that missed opportunity. You are that blessing that turned into a lesson. You metamorphosized right before their eyes, or right while their back was turned, because they didn't take the time to feed the love and energy and attention and care into you that you deserve. So if you let this person back in, and it seems like the same familiar patterns, or you let this person disturb your peace, interfere with the certainty that you have at this point that you have made the right decision moving on from this situation, then there's no one to blame but yourself for however much of a stronghold this person has on you moving forward or not. And for a lot of you, your resolve inside of yourself, it's unshakable at this point. If this is this type of situation where you would consider, being friends with this person or letting them prove themselves, it feels like it'd be a very long road. This would be the type of thing where your instinct, your intuition wouldn't just be like, great, you've said something, you spoke, you replied, you didn't just leave my messages on read, or you unblocked me, you reached out and just you'd melt in their presence. It feels like instinctually speaking, there would be something within you that would say, hey, I went through enough of that in the past with this person, and I'm no longer that version of me. So if they have something to say, they better make it good. And they better match that good thing that they say with consistency. And it's going to take a while before I trust that. And even then, I'm going to sleep with one eye open. And yeah, this person's going to have to work for that. They're going to have to earn that. Trust may never fully be reestablished. But if they really mean it, if they really love me, they won't give up trying. And so that in and of itself, those harsh boundaries, that tough love, that might be something even that kind of causes this person to sort of, scatter away like a little roach back under the refrigerator when the lights turned on in the kitchen. For a lot of you, this is somebody that you're now the mirror for this person. They're like trapped in some sort of karmic cycle. Yeah, other things might go well in their life, but there will always be this recognition that there's a timeline they can never access now because you were the key and you were that doorway, and they chose to treat you how they treated you, or they left you hanging, or they juggled you with other people, or they made you doubt or second guess yourself, and you slipped away, you escaped, you got away from them, you healed, you evolved, you grew as a person. You called in new love, or you're facing in that direction of there's got to be something better out there than this. There's got to be something more for me in terms of love than this poor experience that this person has shown me. Not recently, but time and time again, over time. Even the absence of attention, care, contact, communication in the 3D, even if energetically it's a very, alive connection. You feel a lot in the higher realms in the 3D sense. If it's been lacking, if it's been absent, this earth energy with the Hierophant is like, if I'm not able to like call you on the phone and we can't get together and there's not regular communication and I don't really know what's going on in your life right now and you don't really know what's going on in my life right now, then there is no connection. Then it's just noise in the etheric realms, just noise in the astral plane. It's just nonsense. And so you've done the right thing by choosing what can be quantified by the five senses. You come back into your body from that higher self arena, that liminal space where you might have gotten lost in limerence, you might have gotten lost in illusion, lost in the fantasy, reaching for the potential until you said enough is enough and you were brave enough to take steps forward in another direction. And whether you hear from this person again or you don't, please understand that they do feel this. They feel that you have snatched your power back from your side of the equation of this like energetic experience, and it's uncomfortable. And now their journey begins of running from that in other directions, projecting that frustration out, only to have it bounce back in their face. Because you are no longer connected to them in a way, you're going to sponge up this person's negativity or neglect. Or this is a situation where for some, this is that clue, this is that wake-up call, this is that rude awakening of like, hey Buster, you better get at it. You better get to work. You better fast track yourself. You better figure out how to quantum leap real quick. Or, that door of opportunity that's been shut, the little crack underneath, that's going to be sealed up. And then you're like permanently out in the cold. Maybe in another lifetime, probably never. And so continue to move forward along the path that you have chosen for yourself now. Continue to speak life and affirmations into the part of you that might reflexively want to look behind because you feel something shift within this person's energy. You feel them approaching, or for those of you where this person really does reach out, where you feel almost like I could regress back into that old me. I've worked so hard to move beyond that, but I could break that resolve within myself. Just continue to reinforce your boundaries. Continue to remember why it is that you got to the point, what it is that you've been through, where you had to take a big step forward in another direction. And if this person is really able to align themselves with the frequency you now operate on, the life that you are living or that you're in the midst of manifesting for yourself, then they will certainly put in that work. They'll put in that effort. They'll understand their part, their role in how things have ended up how they've ended up. And it would be no problem at all for them to do whatever they needed to do to prove that, to extend your hand to them again, that it would be a different result this time than everything they've put you through before. And for the vast majority of you, this person doesn't have it in them, or your story is simply complete with one another. And as much as you love yourself to take steps in another direction, your spirit team, the universe, God, your angels, is also like, enough. Your ancestors say, enough. This person had their chance and it's enough. You're no longer accessible like that. You will garner strength from these benevolent, loving powers that surround you as you continue to face forward, as you continue to step in new directions, as you continue to not listen to the noise of this person from the past, from your subconscious, from that hopeful heart of yours that has the capacity to love so beautifully, that you gave this person such grace. You gave them such an opportunity to be your plus one. Only they have now become zero as far as you're concerned. They don't factor into this version of you or the life that awaits. So consider this to be, your accomplishment, your blessing. You freed yourself from a very difficult cycle, and this person is aware of it. And even if they never reach out, they feel that absence, and that will continue to move with them through time. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.